Hello, this is Clean Coach Carly. I am the staff nutritionist for Healthy Habits Living. And I'm wondering if you are one of the 29 million people worldwide that is diagnosed with diabetes. Or are you one of the 86 million that is diagnosed with pre-diabetes? That's a big deal. And diabetes and pre-diabetes are considered worldwide pandemics or epidemics. So the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, reports that diabetes is a major cause of blindness, kidney failure, heart attacks, strokes, and lower limb amputations. So when you're dealing with diabetes, you're going to have a lot more fallout than just needing to take insulin or a medication or having unstable blood sugar. It leads to all sorts of health indications and problems, including death. So if you don't know very much about diabetes, let me give you a quick primer. So type 1 diabetes is usually diagnosed in youth. And this is when your immune cells or your immune system starts attacking your pancreas, specifically the beta cells that make insulin for you. So there's not a lot known, although there is some ideas about why your immune system would attack your pancreas. But needless to say, this usually happens in youth, and type 1 diabetics usually have to rely on insulin injections for the rest of their lives or an insulin pump. Now, type 2 diabetes is completely different. So this is not an autoimmune reaction or an immune cell reaction. This is a lifestyle disease. Now, you may in your family have some genetics that make you more predisposed to diabetes, but that doesn't mean it's written in stone. And so if your dad had diabetes, it doesn't mean that you have to have diabetes. Again, type 2 diabetes is managed best through lifestyle, not medications. Okay, although those can help. But type 2 diabetes is called a lifestyle disorder or disease because a lot of the causes have to do with your lifestyle, including your diet, your exercise, and your sleep. So type 2 diabetes used to be called adult onset diabetes because people would develop it as they got older because of running their blood sugar really high all the time. In other words, just eating a lot of carbohydrates, not exercising, and so having high blood sugar. It's not really called that very much anymore because younger and younger people are getting type 2 diabetes because of poor nutrition and poor lifestyle. So now it's usually just called type 2 diabetes, or it's referred to as CinndromeX because it usually goes along with high triglycerides, high cholesterol, central adiposity, so having too much fat in the midsection, and cardiovascular diseases like thickening of the arteries. It's also sometimes called metabolic syndrome, cardiometabolic syndrome, has lots of different names. And type 2 diabetes is also usually a comorbidity is usually insulin resistance. Okay, so that's where your cells are actually resistant to insulin because they've been bombarded for so long with such high amounts of insulin that they just don't have the receptors or the ability to take any more insulin. And now remember, insulin is made by your pancreas, and insulin is what allows blood sugar to get into your cells. And so when you're insulin resistant, it's like your cells are on strike. They're like, nope, we're off the job. We're not taking any more of that blood sugar out of your blood and into the cells because we've just had too much. There's just too much. And so what happens is you end up having really high blood sugar for a long amount of time because the blood sugar has nowhere to go. And if you're not exercising and you're constantly eating high amounts of carbs, that's the only choice. So insulin resistance usually accompanies type 2 diabetes, but not always. So type 2 diabetes is when your pancreas is failing to keep up with the demand of the amount of insulin that your body requires for the amount of carbs that you're eating. So we've got our definitions there. There's no magic pill for type 2 diabetes. The medications help your blood sugar to go lower, but they don't solve your problem if you have a poor diet or if your pancreas is tired of making insulin. So the best solutions are low carb diet and exercise and herbs or supplements that will sensitize your cells to insulin and help to monitor or lower the amount of blood sugar that you have running through. So lifestyle and diet first, right? So you have to get on a low carb diet. The paleo diet is the one I always recommend. You have to be moving. You don't have to be exercising like a fiend, but you do have to be moving. And you do need to be drinking water, and you do need to be sleeping. So here are a couple of nutrients that can help to sensitize your cells to insulin so they're not resistant anymore, and also help your pancreas to create enough insulin for you, and also for your cells to monitor the amount of blood sugar that you have running through your bloodstream. So these are all found in Xymogen's CinndromeX. Funny name, huh? Right? So cinnamon, there's cinnamon in it, and then the drome part is because a lot of times this type 2 diabetes is called CinndromeX or cardiometabolic syndrome or whatever. So CinndromeX. Here's the interesting first ingredient. It has a patented form of cinnamon. Now, I know we've all heard that cinnamon is good for blood sugar and diabetes. Yes, that is true, but you could never possibly eat enough cinnamon in order to help your pancreas and help your cells and the insulin in your body. So you really do need to take the supplement version of cinnamon. That being said, cinnamon is a great thing to flavor your food, and of course it has nutritional value, so definitely include that in your diet. But if you're really working on getting your hemoglobin A1C down or your insulin levels down and your blood sugar regulated, then you're going to want to take the Insulin. And that is the patented extract of cinnamon that has been proven to make your cells more sensitive to insulin. So if your cells are resistant because you've been throwing so much insulin at them for so long, then Insulin, a patented form of cinnamon, is going to be your go-to ingredient. A couple of other things that are in that formula: American ginseng, and that's also known as Panax ginseng. It's been used in traditional Chinese medicine for eons of time, and it has other uses other than blood sugar. So it's helpful for energy, mood, and your immune system. The other thing in here is the Xymogen leaf extract. So this actually reduces the amount of blood sugar that's absorbed in your intestines. Okay, so that's kind of magic. So it stops the process of your bloodstream getting too much blood sugar in there. Now, of course, it's not a panacea. You can't go eat a gallon of ice cream and then take some Xymogen and expect for, to control your blood sugar. But it will, in moderate amounts, help you absorb less blood sugar. And it also has an added benefit of decreasing sugar cravings. So it's a double whammy. So that formula, CinndromeX by Xymogen, also has the Xymogen leaf extract in it. Green tea polyphenols is another ingredient. Improves your blood glucose levels and decreases insulin resistance. So your cells are less resistant to that insulin. The last ingredient is ALA, which is alpha lipoic acid. This sensitizes your cells to insulin, but it also has the added benefit of helping the nerves, specifically in your feet, but any nerves, that have been damaged by peripheral neuropathy. So that is a common side effect in diabetes. So this is when the nerves in your toes and feet basically become numb and or painful, like pins and needles. So ALA can sensitize those nerves again, and so that they're not so reactive and painful. And ALA protects your beta cells. Those are the ones in your pancreas that make insulin for you. And so it protects those cells from being damaged. The last ingredient that has is chromium. Now, chromium is something that I recommend to people who get high blood sugar and low blood sugar. Chromium is an essential mineral, and in studies, those who get hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar, and those who get hyperglycemia, high blood sugar, like in diabetes, have low levels of chromium. And we're not sure why that is, but we know that supplementing with chromium is an important way to regulate your blood sugar. So I always recommend chromium to anyone who has any type of blood sugar issue. So if you're one of those 29 million people who has diabetes, or the 86 million that are pre-diabetic, you have your secret weapon now. Low carb diet, healthy lifestyle, and get on Xymogen's CinndromeX. so that you can get those nutrients to resensitize your nerves and your insulin receptors and your cells and protect your pancreas. Here at Healthy Habits Living, we're always here to help you get healthy so you can stay healthy and be healthy.